how does NLP work? Anybody curious? You ever seen this diagram before? So how does NLP work? We'll have a breakout group in a minute, and you guys will have an opportunity to kind of share with each other what your learnings and takeaways are so far, what your questions are for me. So NLP works because there's a separation between external events and internal responses. That you do not respond to the world directly as it is. You have to. It's a necessity. You must interface with the external world through your senses. What that means is that you never, ever, ever engage with the world directly. Isn't that amazing? You could not know anything outside of yourself. Not directly. You can make a map of it, you can have a perception of it, but you could never know it directly, because as soon as it impinges on your senses, that's this green rectangle here, as soon as it impinges on your senses, millions and millions of bits of information are getting deleted, generalized, and distorted. It's getting filtered down. Just using your eyes for an example. Your eyes can only pick up on the electromagnetic spectrum between red and violet. Anything below red is infrared, you don't map it. Anything above violet, ultraviolet, you don't map it. That means that there's so much information going on in this room, in the reality outside of you, that you could not ever know using your mind-body system, using your neurology. If you had infrared goggles, you could pick it up. But just using your neurology, it's right here, right now, as real as everything else that you're perceiving. But you don't map it out. Isn't that amazing? That depending on the quality of your hearing, well, first of all, your ears only pick up from a certain resonancy, from bass up to treble. Anything above that, you can't map it. Dogs can hear it. Bats can hear it. If you had a special recording device, you could probably pick it up, but you're not mapping it out. And that's just with your eyes and your ears. Same thing goes with smells, tastes, feelings. Is that certain things get mapped, certain things don't. But as soon as it touches your neurology, it goes from something real, you convert it to information. What that means for you right now is that if you're kind of like awake and paying attention right now on the outside, not kind of lost in thoughts, that's different. But if you're kind of awake and paying attention to me or the slides right now, or depending on your programming, you're looking at yourself in the camera, see how good. But if you're paying attention outside right now, what this means for you is that what you're seeing is not capital R real. It's not. It's not capital T the truth. It's not. It's your filtered down perception of it, just at the sensory level. So what you're seeing, hearing, feeling, smelling, tasting right now is nothing more than a perceptual map and not the real thing. Isn't that amazing? You cannot know reality directly. You must filter it down even to perceive it. Now, after you filter through your senses, if you look in this red rectangle here, you've got these things called metaprograms. We're not going to go too deep into that today, and we could do we have a 3-day training program on just metaprograms. But metaprograms are not about what you're thinking, it's about how you're thinking. And the most commonly known one is optimist-pessimist. Yeah? Anybody here kind of consider yourself an optimist or a pessimist? I see someone smiling, yes, and someone like, yes. Isn't that amazing? So it's not about what you're thinking, it's about how you are thinking. And if you're an optimist, you can look at the same thing. You look at the traffic and you see it totally different than someone who's a pessimist. And they're looking at the same traffic. And so not only do we filter through our senses, but we also filter through our thinking patterns, our metaprograms. And in NLP, this is what we're going to start to do in our next workshop in 2 weeks from now, is we're going to look at really in-depth the most foundational thinking pattern that we have. And we've mapped out over 60 of them in the field of NLP that you can use to personality profile yourself and others. And that's what we're going to start to do on the next workshop in 2 weeks from today. Now, after you filter through your senses, and then you filtered through your thinking patterns. Now you filter through your meta state. That's your beliefs, your values, your memories, your decisions, your perception of time. So you're stuck in traffic, and then you filter it through your senses. Then you filter it through optimistic or pessimistic or any of the other 60 of them. Now you filter it through your memories. So are there any memories of times when I remember that time when I was stuck in traffic all day. I'm going to hate it. I remember that time when we were in traffic with my family as a kid, and we played those games all day, and we had so much fun. I love traffic. Isn't that amazing? So we filter it through, and after you filter through all of that, what you're left with is a movie in your mind. Nothing more than a movie in your mind. Can you remember the last time you were stuck in traffic? Isn't that amazing? The past is gone. You've got a YouTube database of videos that you've been collecting your whole life through your eyes, your ears, your nose, your mouth, through things you've imagined, through stories people have told you that have invoked movies in your mind. And that comprises your database of all your programs. Now, you're stuck in traffic. You filter it through your senses. You filter it through your thinking patterns. You filter it through your beliefs, your values, your memories, your decisions, and you end up with this movie in your mind, and that movie in your mind now is what influences your physiology. And that physiology, from that physiology, you respond. What does this mean? This means that traffic is not frustrating. This means that rain doesn't make you sad. This means that the COVID thing is giving me anxiety. It means that when the traffic happens, I make myself frustrated. When it's raining outside, my programming makes me sad. And when I have this perception and imagination of what's going on with this COVID thing, I'm giving myself anxiety. Isn't that pretty empowering? See, the good news is that your responses are based on your programs, your filters, your maps of the world. And the good news about that is because they're behind your nose and toes, your programs, your filters, your maps, they're yours. And you can change them. And that's the power of becoming an owner of your mind. Is recognizing that the stuff behind your nose and toes, the stuff in between your ears, whose is it? Whose is it? Yeah, that's right. I see a couple people. And taking ownership over that stuff is the first step to being able to use it effectively. Because if you don't take ownership over it, if the traffic makes me frustrated, there's nothing you can do about it. The traffic's out there, and I can't change the traffic. But if I make myself frustrated when I'm in traffic, that's the first step of taking ownership over your stuff. Because from there, now all of a sudden you can begin to reprogram. Does that make sense? Give me a this for no and a this for yes. Good. We're going to do nonverbal communication in 4 weeks from now. We're working our way up to it. All right.